At Farm and Table, our mission is to make healthy and naturally grown food more accessible to local communities. In that spirit, we're taking a close look at some of the amazing people working day in and day out to bring healthy and sustainably grown food closer to your dinner table. Let's get into it. Today, I'm at Black Mountain Farm, nestled just north of town in Ramona, California, located right off the 78 highway. It's in a perfect location for people coming in and out of town to quickly stop in and buy food that has been grown in a fresh, local, and sustainable way. The owners, Doug and Michelle, work very hard to provide a variety of options, including poultry, eggs, veggies, llama tours, and even overnight stays. Doug has been gracious enough to give us an exclusive tour to not only showcase their hard work, but also provide powerful insights into their sustainable farming practices. As always, I wanted to go back to the beginning to see how it all got started.
Black Mountain Farm was named for its namesake, Black Mountain. So we have a little over 4,000 feet on the Cleveland National Forest with the pinny pines growing that children planted back in the early 1900s, Black Mountain. And every morning, my kids, we'd have our breakfast and I'd look out the window and I'd see the mountain and be inspired. And they just suggested maybe Black Mountain Farm, Dad. And so we settled on that and we've never looked back.
That's awesome. And how long ago was that?
That was back in 2010 that we really started. We purchased this property during the Great Recession from a bank, and we were able to transform it into a little small farm. When we first purchased the property, it was very unique. You can see the building is just a large concrete rectangle. And it turned out that the building was a federal building. It was the FBI communications hub in Southern California back in the 40s, 50s. When the property was in commission, there were land all around, was all federal property owned, and there was not much access, and it was FBI communications for Southern California. Decommissioned, given to the county, all the land parceled to 5 and 10 acre lots, and we've just transformed it to agriculture. While it has sandy, conventional Southern California loamy type sandy soil, my better half, Michelle, who's a true farmer here, has cultivated and regenerated the soil, which is her passion, but her game plan is to regenerate. So by doing that, that requires you to bring it up to a level where you want to sustain. So the way people are doing that now we're running animals on the property, poultry, and then we'll grow right behind it. And that's why that's my wife's passion, and I support that. I think it's a great idea. I'm a llama person, so my passion is raising llamas and ranching them and raising high-end genetics for a working animal. These animals will work for you. You can go on pack trips, and they are phenomenally adept to packing all your equipment and following you anywhere you want to go.
That's awesome. So your wife is the sort of the produce, focused on the produce. You focus on the llamas.
And she also is in charge of all the poultry.
The poultry as well.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So you're going to take us through a little tour of your property here. We can start maybe, do you want to start at the produce and then we can circle around?
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's take it on.
We were looking for property that we could farm.
Gotcha.
And so in order to farm a property and have produce, run a lot of birds and grow on it, and also have llamas or any kind of livestock, it has to be zoned properly. So you can do whatever activity you want on there that's related to what industry you want. For us, it was the A series. So we're in A72, and that's you can grow pretty much, you can do what you want to do here. And, but in order to grow, the seed has to be at a certain temperature, and that's why people do hoop houses. I call them hoop houses because it looks like a hoop house to me.
Yeah.
But it's really it's a season extension building, and while they look very modest and everything, it's actually a phenomenal. It's a phenomenal structure. What it can accomplish with so little. What we have here is essentially what is a greenhouse effect. So you can just get through solar radiation, you can get a warmer building inside with no insulation, at least during the day. However, at night, what do? Your seed needs to be at a certain temperature or else it cannot start, period, end of story. There's no changing that. So what growers do is what she's done is she's fabricated her own soil temperature regulation system with these beds. And what these beds are, while they look very modest, what's going on is it's a raised platform, and here we have the sand bed wire and a thermal cable which is attached to this controller. This controller controls the temperature of a serpentine wire that goes over a grid all down the bed. Then she can put her plant starts on this bed and on this bed, and in any time of the year could either run lights if she wanted to, and she can start the seeding much earlier than nature would let. Normally you're in March, but she can do it in early February. Anytime she wants to start her seeds, she starts them.
So we're kind of looking at the off time of this of this structure here.
Exactly. They call it shoulder season extension on the shoulders is what people use hoop houses for. We're starting the seeds, and she can start them earlier because she can control the temperature of the soil.
Gotcha.
So seeds, when you look up, you'll notice that each seed, what temperature does it have to be before it can start germinating? Well, you're well above 50. Yeah. She'll run these beds probably 70 degrees.
So if we come back in, if we come back in March or April, we'll see this.
Oh yeah, it'll
covered.
Be completely. It'll already be starting probably to be moved out, and new guys coming in.
Got it.
So it'll be starting in February. There'll be complete starts out here. They'll be germinating, running, and they'll be growing up. That way when March hits, transplanting. And this is where what happens next is you have your transplants, but really what do you do with them? You need a place. And right now you can see off season. So what she's done is she's covered these beds, and that gets rid of everything that's in there. Now you can see, like from the wind, pushed it out of the way. So actually it's lucky for the camera, you can kind of see how it's constructed. All these beds, 50-foot bed, and it's a raised bed, and there's 10 beds per plot. And so how she organizes it, like plot 3, for example, will have such and such in it. And it'll have the controller, and the right amount of water will come out and come down these systems and do that. But all the planting and harvesting is all done by hand.
And what vegetables do you guys focus on mainly?
She's a diversified farm, so we have the poultry and the veggies. The veggies are everything from all different kinds of peppers, so all different kinds of bell peppers and spicy peppers, because she has a higher tolerance for peppers than you and me and anybody you know combined. And she loves them. So she grows them. And so she has all kinds of peppers, And as you can see, we have out here, we have trellised tomatoes. And then there's some leafy chard still up there that she'll turn in. And so we're at the end of the year now, so all this is in process of coming down and putting the beds to rest, is how it's termed.
We were very lucky to catch a glimpse of some of the vegetables still being produced by these plants even this late in the season. But once these are gone, these beds will be put to rest. That's really good tomato.
And the reason why you get so much flavor is that when we see tomatoes that we purchase from a traditional grocery store, those were harvested when they look more like so. They're not ripe yet. And so they're nice and firm. And what that enables the large producers to do is that they can stack them in crates and stack them deep and ship them long, and they'll stay and they'll get them on the cold quickly, and that will allow them to get them to supermarket and get them, you know, to be stored, and they'll ripen. But guess what? When you see a veggie like so, and we feel it, you can smell it. And don't worry, every bug and insect or bird in the neighborhood smells it too. It's ripe. And so it's going to go, it has the sugar, it's at the end of the season, the light is getting less, and the plant is like, hey, this is it, man. I'm going to, like, you're getting sugared up, you're harvested, we're out. And it's full of sugar. It's delicious.
Yeah, that was really good.
It's a completely different experience. But you don't see items like this getting stacked very high. Can't. They'll be smushed, and then they won't be okay to eat after just a few days. So that's why eating fresh, just picked, is different than purchasing in a store. But it works good economically. Mm-hmm. So that's how that's how the industry shifted. But when you go to a small farm, well, they don't have to do that. But at the same time, you know, we, as a small farm, you don't have like a supermarket with 100 people walking down your aisles buying your stuff. You kind of have to figure it out all yourself.
So do you think that the one thing that's stopping people from buying from small farms is just the access to it? Or why do you think it's more popular for...
It's the access.
Is it the access?
Yeah, there are some farms and they're making delicious food. Any kind of veggie you can imagine, there's some expert like my better half who knows how to deliver, and they know how to make incredible growing fruit and veggies. The challenge is getting the education that to people that, like, hey, this is available for you, and you can enjoy your food more, be more present with your meal, and have a more fulfilling interaction with your food by eating something that was grown without pesticides and something that was grown to taste good. You'll see that the farmers that perform this type of work, they are committed to a type of farming that is figured out through integrated pest management systems, and they don't want anything to do with food that's been modified genetically, or they don't want anything to do with food that has glyphosate or related type products on their food, because they don't want to put those kind of chemicals in themselves. They call them, the trade name is IPM, Integrated Pest Management. And how they do it is there's actually, people understand the life cycle of bugs, and they understand how to better manage that. So a way that most people are familiar with is, okay, you put tomatoes here this season, now next season you put them back here again. Well, guess what? The bugs that were here this year, I got to figure out what's here, and I can manage eating it. Now I'm thriving on it. So what it's up to the farmer is, like, I grew tomatoes here this year. Now I got to move them to plot 5 next year because that's far away from where they were, and you'll grow something different here. Some people may think, oh, I have to rotate crops because I don't want to overuse the soil. And make no mistake, if you grow a thing full of sugar this big and a whole bunch of it, it will use up whatever's here. It's phenomenal how it works. So what the farmers have to do is they have to supplement the soil with more organic material, their version of fertilizer, which is all natural. So, and while they'll be doing that, they're also doing diversified farmers will run birds over it. And the birds are charging the ground with nitrogen from their manure, and that enables the ground to recover better than it was before. And then next season, new plant is run on it. It's got more energy than it had in the past. The farmer has more knowledge of its area, and lo and behold, you get a better crop. Thousands of years ago in Peru, Chile, Argentina, big mountains. How do you get in between one place and another and bring anything? They had 2 animals in South America that were domesticated, and one was the llama. The other one was the guinea pig. That's all they had. No pigs, no horses, no dogs, no nothing. And they managed to build literally world-class civilizations with just the llama and the guinea pig.
And are these llamas here for people to come and visit?
Yes, at Black Mountain Pack Llamas is the website, and people can sign up on the website for a open to the public once a month tour, and they can also sign up for a family tour or a private tour behind the scenes at any time that we agree on. And so we get homeschoolers coming literally by the busload, and they'll come and the children will see the farm, they'll see all the different animals, and just kind of start learning about animals, really. And how it works is, for a chicken, as long as you're put away at night, good to go. You're not going to have a problem. No predator's going to be able to get to the chickens, even through a simple enclosure like a movable chicken tractor. The coyotes can't get to them. These are Cornish cross, just standard run, 150 birds, 2 tractors. They'll be ready in 8 weeks. We process all the birds here on site, and they're vacuum sealed with and she has all the right permits and certifications to handle meat and to process birds, and so that's what we do.
Yeah, and we got a little glimpse of that process.
That's right.
With the turkeys the other day, which was really interesting.
She processed 40 hand-raised birds, heritage turkeys, and she had a group of people here that were just good team working, and virtually everybody here, nobody had experience. There's one young woman that had a lot of experience, and I named a llama after her.
So I'm curious, Doug, how many years have you been doing this?
It's amazing. I thought about that the other day, and I realized that back before Tanaya was born, we lived in Lakeside, California, and Michelle had a book, and we would do maybe 5 to 7 birds a year, and she would have the book out there, and we'd be figuring it out, and that's been 30 years. Scald is the most important thing that we do for the birds. The temperature outdoors, the hydration of the bird, the age of the bird, the type of the bird, all those are factors in the scald success. So we start very conservative because we're going to be very careful not wanting to damage the skin and the presentation of the bird.
We've put the bird through the scalding and through the plucker, and so now I'm responsible for cutting the feet off. My job is to remove just the legs and the remaining feathers, and then I think they'll remove the head and the internal organs at the next one.
So now you're starting at this station. Do you want to give a little highlight of what you're doing here?
This is the evisceration station. We take the birds from the water. So everything from this point out that we remove is composted. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys have a pretty well system figured out of how to.
Pretty well-oiled system.
Doug said you've been doing this for
A long time. I think we've been doing turkeys since, well, probably 20 years, 20 or so years.
Okay.
Since the kids were like babies. And then chickens, probably really getting close to 40 years now.
And whose idea was it to start doing this? I'm just curious.
You're looking at her.
Okay.
I love this stuff. I'm an engineer by training and trade, and that was a really super good life. But I've always liked growing things. We started like most people when the kids are young, raising the garden, raising some chickens for eggs, eventually for meat, turkeys for Thanksgiving, and then you make a little bit extra and you sell it to your friends, to your family. And it just kind of blossoms out from there. And some people just really have a passion for that. Turkeys are a big deal. They're very expensive to raise. So I ordered grain and I mix and grind my own feed. I will feed the turkeys I'll feed them a starter feed, 2 grower feeds, and a finisher feed throughout their life. So I'm like super, it's all non-GMO. I'm super conscious about what they're eating, tailoring the feed to the bird. But the turkeys have a higher protein feed. Mm-hmm. So the protein is what costs money. So turkeys are more expensive, and you raise them for a long period of time. These are heritage birds. The commercial breeds are ready in 18 weeks. These guys are 28 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I'll gather eggs starting in March, April, 28 days to hatch out. And then my target is to have poults like in the first half of May. But turkeys are once a year, and it's kind of a high-end kind of bird. And, but people are looking for something really special at their table that time of year. Do they taste different? They do taste different because, they're very active. And they're a different type of bird. They have smaller breasts, longer legs, unlike the commercial breed. So there's more dark meat. They cook a little bit more evenly because they're not all just giant breasts.
Gotcha.
So the people that buy from me really like what they are getting, and they're willing to come back year after year.
And so we saw the turkeys, we saw the crops, we saw the chickens, and we saw a little bit of back here as well. Is there anything else that we're missing on this farm that you think would be cool to showcase?
The last thing is the entertainment.
Okay.
The entertainment.
Let's do it.
So this is our little hip camp area, and what we provide is a big sleeping area. It has 2 full-size beds in here, and it's raised up, so no matter how much it rains, they'll never get wet. And the tent is it's approximately 20 feet in diameter, and it's just, their little home away from home.
This is so cool.
Yeah, it's just something like, hey, I want to go and camp on a farm, and now people can do it. A lot of people who do come here, they'll have their mountain bikes, so they'll do some mountain biking, and then they'll come back and hang. They'll cook. They have a full kitchen here, and they can cook, and they can take showers at night and clean up. Oh, wow. And we built this nice little bathhouse. They can, usually what people do, I see them right away, is they put up hammocks and they just kind of get cornhole going. I have some games I put out for them. And a lot of times people are starting to, you know, they're checking in with themselves in a way that I see very healthy, that I promote, is to kind of listen to themselves and be in the moment. And really, you know, what am I doing now? I'm just going to be here now.
I think this has been great. I feel like you've given us like a lot of information, and we've learned a lot. We saw a lot of cool things here today. Just for people watching, maybe you could tell them where they can follow your journey or learn more about what you're doing for future plans or things like that. Where should people go?
Great. People who want to follow farming should go to Farm Black Mountain, and they can see Michelle's opportunity to come out and see the farm, and also come and purchase their farm fresh eggs and all their veggies and get their chicken.
That's
It's been a
awesome.
pleasure. There we go.
And we're out. Awesome. That was so good.
Yeah, it was fun, huh? Good job, you guys.
We carry a unique vision here at Farm and Table, one where we see the future done a little bit differently. Maybe you see it too. If you want to stay up to date on the things we're working on and the people we're showcasing, be sure to follow us here and on other platforms as well. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.